How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I'm super excited because this week I'm finally tasting the coffee liqueur that I've made over the last couple of weeks. This one is a UJSSM bourbon base, and this one is a Buccaneer Bob's rum base. I want to taste both of these next to each other and also against the spirit that sort of inspired it. But the cool thing is, guys, you can make it with whatever you want. So if you don't have your own homemade spirits, you can use your favorite bourbon, your favorite rum, or a cheap bourbon or cheap rum, whatever you're into, and you can join in the fun too. Welcome to Distiller, everyone. I'm Jesse, and this is the channel all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. Now, like I said, guys, I went to Still Austin a little while ago, and Harry, the distiller there, totally hooked me up with a bunch of knowledge, and of course hooked me up with a bottle of their spirit, let me taste it with them, so on and so forth. If you haven't seen that video, by the way, guys, there's a video of me doing that. Check the link out up here. You can go back and watch that first if you want, and then come on back over here. So the video today, guys, is I'm going to show you how I made it, go through that process, and then go back into tasting these next to each other and then compare them to the original spirit. So I would love very much if you guys wanted to get on board and give it a crack as well. Let me know how you get on down below in the comments. That would be absolutely awesome. Or if you think that there's a few things that I could do different with the process along the way, make sure you sing out as well. Alright guys, cheers. I'll catch you at the end of the video. We can taste this stuff. But before then, let's figure out how we made it. The first thing we're going to need is 400 mils of base spirit. Now, any aged base spirit Harry from Still Austin says will work. I am going to use, first of all, my UJSSM, but I'm also going to make a batch with my Buccaneer Bob's rum. Harry also told me that there are two main ingredients for this liqueur. One is coffee beans, I'm using Robbert Harris beans, and two, cocoa nibs. I'm using random nibs from Davis Trading. I like quite a strong coffee, and for that reason I'm using dark beans and also a whole cup for the 400 mils. We're going to grind these, of course, and then add them to the 400 mils of spirit. If, of course, you don't like so much coffee, feel free to back off a bit on this. Next, I added half a cup of cocoa nibs. Now, you'll probably see at the end of the video that I think I should have added probably only about a quarter of a cup of cocoa nibs, but that, of course, is up to you. Everything is in there that we need for now. We're going to let this macerate. And I know Harry from Still Austin said that they let it go for about 4 days. So I'm assuming about 4 days means 3 to 5 days. And I'm also assuming, although he didn't specifically say it, that they do that based on flavour. So they'll taste it, see how it's going, change it. What I do need to do, though, is do exactly the same thing with rum. I am going to do it exactly the same way with exactly the same measurements as this, so I can compare apples with apples at the end of this video. You ready? There we go. That was a whole lot easier than the first one. But what I do need to do now is name these so I don't get them mixed up. On the 5th day, the flavour was peaking, so I decided to filter them then and there with coffee filters. I also proofed it down to 30% ABV, which, to be honest, is a little bit high, but I like to go on the high side so I can water it down later. And I added 4 tablespoons of maple syrup. Once again, this is probably a little on the low side, but I'd rather add less, be able to add more later. As you can see, this is quite cloudy at the moment, so I let it sit for another couple of days and filtered it again before getting down to tasting. Alright guys, we're about to taste this stuff, but before I do, I need to do something real quick. Thank you to the Patreons. You guys know it by now, but I need to say it again. There's no way I'm doing this stuff without them, so thanks guys. Alright guys, so it's been a couple of weeks. I've let this chill, I've let it clear out a little bit more, I've filtered it again and just let it kind of blend together for a little bit of time, and I think that extra little bit of time has done it good. It is a much more rounded, more sort of integrated product now. But anyway, let's get on to tasting. So first up, let's do the nose down the board. So this is the rum version, the Buccaneer Bob's version. There is a little bit of the rum funk coming through. You know, sort of the Jamaican pot still dunder funk, which I love in the rum, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. But in this instance, I'm not sure if that's really what I want. I don't know. The funk and the coffee don't seem to go together that well for me. I also, on the nose, I'm beginning to think Yeah. I'm beginning to think that maybe the choice of the dark roast wasn't such a great idea. I think maybe I should have gone something from a little bit more mellow. I am by far a coffee connoisseur or expert. So if you guys, if that's what you do, if that's what you're into, if you know your coffee, drop some comments down below and maybe let people know what you think, what sort of coffee roast they should use, what sort of beans they should be using for this sort of thing. Yeah, because it's not my thing. So yeah, nice coffee scent on the nose, but a little bit of that sort of sharpness from the real dark stuff, I think. And the rum funk, yeah, doesn't quite fit in my mind. This is a much cleaner coffee flavour, and I think that's because the funk isn't coming through. There is a hint of vanilla, oak, not cherry, but kind of some of those more fruity notes that you get in bourbon sometimes. Compared to... What? Okay, I thought I was getting to know this pretty well. This is the Still Austin version. I tried it with Harry at Still Austin. I've tried it a few times since and I thought I was getting to know it pretty well. I never thought that there was much, like a whole lot of bourbon influence coming through on it, but there is a giant, like, cherry bomb sitting in that. Like a bourbon cherry thing that I have never noticed before. I guess smelling it next to these two brought it out. Hands down, 100% from the beginning, this is a much more balanced, more integrated, refined product than mine. Like there's just no two ways about it. It is. But the one thing that my liqueurs have got on it is that there's a much more pronounced coffee nose to these. This is... Wow, after smelling these, all I can get is the bourbon cherry. Alright, reset a little bit. Yeah, the coffee's there, but it's subtle. Alright, so... if I had to pick 100%, this wins. This is second and this is third. These two are relatively close together. It's kind of like this. Alright, let's have a taste. Yeah, so same thing as the nose pretty much with the rum. There's almost an apple-like quality, like green apple, Granny Smith apple-like quality to the coffee. It is quite a nice round, balanced flavour, but there's just a few little jaggy edges here and there that... it's just not working quite so well with this one. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I drink it all day long. It's nice, but it needs a little bit of work, that one. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether something different happened or whether it's just the pairing with the rum that didn't work quite so well. Even better tasting compared to the nose. So that is far rounder. So you get hit with sugar pretty much instantly straight away on this one. And then the coffee comes in quite quickly. And then just behind that, the cocoa nibs sort of pop up and then fade off into the distance when you're left with vanilla, oak and cocoa fading off into the distance. And every now and again as you sort of breathe in and out, the coffee comes back again, which is a much more enjoyable, experience over that whole process than with this one. Don't get me wrong guys, I absolutely love the funk in my Buccaneer Bob's rum, but I just don't know if that's right for this. I think if I was going to do it again with rum, I would use more of a mainstream, no dunder, no funk rum. But the wood is actually coming out in this. The wood and the vanillins are lingering in the background at the end, and it makes it quite a nice, interesting overall experience. So for me, 100% UJ SSM is better. I think it would be better with this, with a more sweet sort of mainstream rum. Alright, let's have a taste of Still Austin's and see how mine compares. Wow, so straight away the first thing I notice is that there's like 4 times as much sugar in this. These are like a sweet, weak spirit. This is like a liqueur. And that makes that cherry really pop. How did I not taste that before? Man, this sort of stuff is so weird to me. Every time I do this, it blows my mind. Yeah, okay. The coffee is definitely more mellow. It's a totally different coffee profile. So much sweeter up front. And it does finish quite cloyingly sweet compared to these two. So it's definitely, firmly in the dessert category. So it's kind of hard to, for me, it's kind of hard to compare the three. Actually, what I could do... Okay, that's still not as sweet. Wow, okay, but that brings it a whole lot closer together, actually. Okay, so after adding the sugar to my UJ SSM version, Yeah, okay, so the biggest difference is the cherry. Boom, out of nowhere with cherry on the Still Austin version. There's none of that in mine. Like I said, I do have some of the wood coming through, some of the vanillins coming through, a tiny bit of the corn and butterscotch coming through on mine. And the other difference is that the Still Austin coffee presents quite differently. It's more like sticking your head into a bag of coffee rather than coffee itself. You know how coffee always smells better than it tastes? The same as bacon. It always smells better than it tastes. This is much more closely representational of the smell rather than the taste. Whereas this tastes more like a nice to average cup of black coffee. Yeah. Alright guys, so I think I did a pretty good job for the first time around. I do think there's definitely room for improvement. My two biggest solutions are: one, probably play with a different type of coffee, and two, cut the cocoa back a little bit. Three, if you're doing it with the rum. I don't know, man. It's up to you guys, depending on whether or not you like that funk. But for me, I think maybe a more traditional, like column stilled rum, one on the sweeter, the woodier side, rather than the funky side, is probably where I would want to head. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It was a hell of a lot of fun, and it was pretty awesome that Harry, hooked me up with the knowledge. So if you haven't seen the video of us talking together, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a link down below for that. Go and check it out and give them some love for being pretty freaking awesome. So let me know if you guys have tried something similar. Let me know if you've got a slightly different process to this. Let me know if you try it exactly the way that I've done it. I would love to hear your thoughts. We can pool our knowledge and do it better next time. So if you're finding value in these videos, guys, you can consider signing up to Patreon if you so wish, but make sure to check out the Chase the Craft website as well. You can watch the videos over there now if you prefer, and I would totally suggest checking out the calculators. They will completely help you chasing the craft. Alright team, until next time, have an awesome week. Keep on chasing the craft. See ya.